Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the long-awaited Pininfarina Battista at Golden Max in its multiplayer season in Asphalt 9. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my Furum Clips channel, as well as the Purple Team Discord. Links to those will be in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video. After a very long hiatus from the game due to licensing issues, the Battista is finally back in Asphalt 9. Unfortunately, it is now a Legend Pass car, which I know a lot of people, including myself, are not going to be too happy about. However, the Black Friday Legend Pass, due to the season being half as long as the regular ones, is only half the cost as well. So it costs $5, and if you get to the end, which is tier 25, you will get 60 blueprints for the Battista, which is enough to unlock it. There's also a special event running for the car right now. Unfortunately, it is nowhere near as easy as the first special event for this car, where you can nearly unlock it just by having the Viper ACR, but it does give some Battista blueprints within it, and I'm currently making my way through that right now. You also in there get some blueprints, as well as in the Legend Pass, for other higher-end cars, such as the Genti Acculone or the F1LM. By higher-end cars, I mean like higher-end within their own classes. And these are a lot of the ones that are required to continue inside of the Battista event. Now I have some of them like the ones I just mentioned. I don't have others like the W12, so your mileage may vary in that event. But the other event is also one that requires some of the same cars, but gives you a lot of tokens. So if you have some of them, that is definitely a good one to check out. You can get hundreds or even thousands of tokens in the Tuatara special event. So if you're low on tokens, which is like 99% of the Asphalt 9 player base, including me, that event will likely be better than the Battista one. There are also 4 types of packs for the season, 2 of which are kind of useless, like the regular Black Friday season packs, because the cars in them are ones that you can get without spending tokens, like if you're a beginner, for example, by going through the daily events and even career. So I wouldn't recommend really anybody buy those. But the other 2 are interesting. There is one for the SSC Tuatara and one for the Rimac C2. Now these are multi-packs, which could be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on what you want. If you really want the SSC Tuatara or the Rimac, they're probably not going to give you as many blueprints as would just regular packs for those cars, but if you are interested in other cars that are in those packs, such as the Genti Acculone and the F1LM, they're probably fairly good purchases. I was originally going to buy the Tuatara ones, but then I realized my Tuatara is literally 0 out of 60 blueprints to 4-star, and I don't even know how many tokens I would have to spend on average, more than I have, I must say, in order to get that card to the next star. So I'm just going to save my tokens, I think, because it almost feels like the season is a calm before the storm, i.e. the next update. Whether or not that will be a good or bad storm, we will have to see when it comes. But for me and a lot of people, I believe that these special events and stuff that are going on right now are primarily a way to farm tokens before the big update, because I was running fairly low on tokens. I just had a couple of thousand, and after this season, I now have over 7,000, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but given the amount of tokens that the recent Drive Syndicates have required, like upwards of 50,000 for the last one particularly, I really don't see that being enough for any kind of Drive Syndicate car unless they truly do make it much more accessible. Like they said, but 7,000 tokens worth of accessible, I'm not really sure. Because with the Rimac special event, it was like 5,000 tokens, and I don't really think they would make one have that few number of tokens again. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. I think it will somewhat depend on whether or not the new car we get is actually going to be a really good one. And I do think that it is likely to be easier than the last Drive Syndicate we had for the LVN if it is not as good of a car. And it likely won't require as many tokens as the Venom SE required either. I know I called that a Drive Syndicate in a recent video of mine. That was just a misspeak on my part. I sometimes forget which of the expensive cars came in Drive Syndicates and which ones came in special events. Because the Jesko, the Rimac, and the LVN came in Drive Syndicates, but the Tuatara and then the Venom came in special events, and all those are really high-end cars in the game, and it's kind of hard to keep them straight sometimes. As you've hopefully been able to see throughout these races, the Battista is quite an agile car, and it is honestly a very fun car to drive, especially if you are at higher stars. My Battista is only at 2 or 3 stars, so I don't have as good of luck with it, but at Golden Max it goes 238 miles per hour, has one of the highest accelerations in the game, and its handling, drifting, and nitro efficiency are all quite good as well. So don't let its low top speed fool you. As we saw recently with my video about the ATS Corsa, cars that have really good acceleration but lower top speed definitely have an advantage in that they can get ahead in the beginning in a regular season, I mean. And not in this season, because everybody's in Pininfarina Battistas, obviously, but in a regular season, if you're driving this car, likely be able to get ahead of everybody in the beginning, and oftentimes it is a lot easier to stay ahead than catching up, at least in my experience. Obviously, certain tracks will be better for this one than others, like the twistier ones where the great acceleration really does help it out a lot. Like if there's some turn where a lot of cars cannot get up to their top speed afterwards, but this one can, for example. Tracks like those you're likely to do best in this car, and I've begun to wonder a bit more about Buenos Aires as we get closer to the next update, where it is presumably going to come out. What cars are going to be good there? We've gotten so many tracks recently that are a lot more agile car oriented. New York was a little bit more top speed-ish, and Nevada a little bit too since they fixed that rough patch, but the Caribbean and Auckland are certainly more twisty ones. I have no actual information about it beyond what has been said in the dev chats, but if I had to speculate, I'd probably guess that it would be something more in the middle, kind of like Nevada or New York, especially after one that was just completely twisty and turny like Auckland. Two other cars I'm planning to make videos about before the next update drops are for the CN and for the 570S, two cars which I maxed out a very long time ago, but I never actually made videos about my own maxed versions of them. I'd made videos about other people's maxed versions of them, but never my own, so that is definitely going to be done before the next update drops, or at least that's the plan. Now it's time for my general review about this car. Honestly, the Battista is a great car to drive. I don't really have a whole lot of bad to say about it other than just its top speed might not be great on tracks such as this one right here, like Mountain Poles for example. If you're facing cars like the Jesko or the Tuatara for example, which in sections like this would definitely be able to get fairly far ahead. But for most purposes, it's a quite reliable multiplayer car, I would say, although not going to be good in events as much, although I don't really even know where this car would be available to use in an S-Class event, so that's kind of a non-issue, I suppose. However, I would not really recommend buying this season's Legend Pass purely to unlock this car, because at very low stars, 1 star, which is exactly what you'll get it at, it's not going to be all that competitive, and you might as well save your money for something else. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!